Now, unfortunately, many of us suffer from some type of depression, and oftentimes it can be very difficult to determine whether or not it is depression that you're suffering from. Today, I have Dr. Stanley Cal here. He is with Conviva Care Centers right here in the Coastal Bend. And today we're going to discuss what depression is and how it affects the senior citizens in our lives. So thank you so much for joining me today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. What is depression, first of all?
Depression, to one extent or another, probably many of us have felt it. It affects the way you think. It affects the way you feel. It affects the way you act. And it's a very common problem.
Agreed, amongst all ages, but specifically we're here to talk about seniors that are affected by depression. How common is depression in senior citizens?
Well, seniors, believe it or not, have some of the highest rates of depression. And dementia, anxiety that goes along with depression, and depression are seen in as many as 1 out of every 3 or 4 people.
Why seniors? Why so many?
Well, you would say, why? Well, it has to do with loss. You lose friends. You lose your health. Other sorts of problems. And also isolation becomes more common. Many of our elderly have more trouble getting around, doing the sorts of things they used to do. They don't go, perhaps, to work like they always used to, and they're having trouble replacing their everyday routines and activities.
Absolutely, and I think the answer is pretty clear, but in case you want to elaborate on it, isolation, you know, you get older, all this time you spent on your kids, but unfortunately, we grow older, they grow older too, and they're preoccupied with their sports and their activities and all these things. They might not come around as often. What other ways does isolation affect seniors and cause depression?
Well, isolation's not good for anybody. I think we all learned that.
Yeah.
Thanks to the COVID pandemic.
Exactly.
Isolation's not good for anybody. So we try to encourage people to stay physically active. We encourage people to get out. Each one of our Conviva centers has an activity center where the seniors, whether they're members of our plan or not, whether they're patients in our center or not, seniors are welcome to come and participate in different activities or just have a cup of coffee and chat and interact with other people. But that's one of the fun things that happens at our center is the different activities that we have.
I love that you mentioned that because I had the opportunity to MC the opening of your location on Ayers, which is brand new. And there was Zumba, there was a DJ, there was bingo. Mind you, this is a big celebration, but everyone was having such a great time. And it was really wonderful to see a camaraderie, a community amongst these seniors finding themselves together and having a nice time. But it's important to be able to identify the signs of depression. So before we go, we know what we need to do to stay active and to stay not depressed. What do we look out for in somebody that we love to know whether or not they may be depressed?
Well, if they're becoming more isolated, less interactive, maybe they're not eating right, maybe they're not taking care of themselves, maybe they just aren't talking. But again, we need to encourage them to seek help, talk to their doctor. And that's why the Conviva centers make mental health care, counseling, psychiatry available to all of our patients.
Well, we appreciate you all and everything you do for our seniors in our community. Again, fantastic Conviva Care Centers. You can find them all around the Coastal Bend. And wonderful people like Dr. Stanley Cal are ready and willing to help you. So if you think you may be suffering from depression, you might have some medical questions or issues that you're balancing, visit the Conviva Care Centers. Let them know we sent you, and I'm sure they'd be happy to help evaluate you and find you the interaction, the medical help, whatever it may be that you need. But don't forget to tell them Coastal Living sent you. Thank you so much, Dr. Cal.
Thank you, Clarissa.